And welcome back. We're about to start the final learning unit, and it covers the project manager, project teams, and organizational structures. It is the people, not the procedures and techniques, who are key to a project success. And in this learning unit, we'll focus on the skills and knowledge of the project manager and the project team can be leveraged in order to achieve the project objective. In addition, this learning unit also explores the various configurations of which people can be organized to work on projects. The learning unit consists of 3 chapters, which is chapter 10 and 11 and 13. So let's start off with the first theme, which is the project manager. At the end of the section, you should be able to understand and know the responsibilities and competencies of a project manager, explain how project management changes are managed, apply the approaches of effective delegation, and also discuss the critical success factors relating to the project, to the role of the project manager. As mentioned earlier and many times before, that the responsibilities of a project manager is a lot to do with managing people. It's a lot to do with managing the expectations of the customer. It's a lot to do with managing all of the project scope, which is the quality, the budget, and the time in which the project needs to be delivered in. You're also responsible for planning the project and securing and organizing the resources in order to appropriately deliver the project, controlling the project's progress, coordinating the team, and controlling the project. You are that one cog, that sort of round which everything revolves. You are part of that. You are the center around which everything revolves. You're also very much responsible for managing the people element of the project. So the planning aspect. You are solely responsible for defining the project objective, and with the client or the customer or the project sponsor, you have to define the project objective very clearly so that it's perfectly understood by both you, the client, as well as the balance of the project team. You have to reach agreement with the customer or the client once the project is complete, communicate that objective to the project team, and make sure that they understand the requirements in order to deliver the project objectives. Create a vision for successful achievement. The project team should continuously be made aware of what the final result should look like. Spearhead the plan development, review it with the client, and also use project management software. And again, the project manager, in large projects, the project manager don't work alone. They normally have project administrators that help with the administration of the project, including capturing of data, including working with the project management software and so forth. But in smaller project, the project manager would be responsible for all those elements as well. Organizing the resources is important, making sure that you select the right people, determine which task needs to be done, and also understand which contractors you're going to use. And those are relationships that you've built up over time. Assign the responsibility, delegate the authority, and then, most importantly, create a motivating environment. If at any point the team members feel as if they're not a part of a successful project, or they're not part of a team that is working together, it is your responsibility to make sure that they feel needed, they feel appreciated, and most importantly that they feel as if they're contributing towards ultimately achieving the project objective. The controlling aspect is almost one of the most important elements, which is tracking of the project progress, using software, regular meetings. Everyone should know where you are with the progress of the project against the planned progress of the project. They should know continuously that you've achieved 50% of the work so far, and so forth. And then take the necessary actions if you're falling behind. You are the leader of the project. Everybody looks at you in order to achieve what needs to be done. And then ultimately involve the entire project team in the decisions. Leadership skills is an important element. It is, again, also part of having great organizing skills, very good administrative skills. Leadership ability is the ability to encourage. It is those skills that you need to motivate, to encourage people, to bring out the best in them. You ultimately achieve the results through the project team. The project manager is not the one delivering the results. They are the ones managing the process. You must be participative and be consultative. A project manager cannot do everything themselves. That's impossible. Then it's not a project, that is just you doing the work. And in order to bring out the best in people, you must be able to motivate. You must be able to inspire passion. You must be able to show people that they are appreciated in their daily work. Provide guidance, coaching to the team, as well as require involvement, empowerment of the project team as well. Establish a good environment of trust, high expectations and enjoyment. You must illustrate self-confidence, even though at times it is very stressful and everything seems to be falling apart. You must be that quiet, passionate leader that's always looking at the positive, that's always looking at how can we solve this, how do we mitigate these risks, how do we, because things will go wrong. And you almost plan for things to go wrong, because when they do go wrong, you have a mitigation plan in place. But also there's times when things go wrong which you haven't planned for. And in those cases, you need to draw on all of your experience, and you need to be the calm one. You need to be the one that remains calm in order for the rest of the project team to do their work, and also exhibit confidence in the project team. You must be able to develop people, as I said. You must be able to inspire. You must be able to grow people. You must be able to believe individuals are valuable. And they need to feel it. They need to sense that what I'm doing is important towards the ultimate achievement of this project. You must always identify opportunities for mentoring, and then also assess opportunities for growth. Encourage self-reflection for learning. You will have, on every project, there are people that are not coping with what they're supposed to be doing. There are people that are struggling to deliver what they need to deliver. And it is your job as the project manager to ensure that those are developed, that those are opportunities for reflection, as well as when the project closes in the final stages. Part of the actions in those final stages is to encourage team members to sit down and reflect on what they did, how they did, and where they can improve the next time. Needless to say, you must have very, very good communication skills. And these are both in written form as well as verbal communication skills. You should be able to communicate and share information very well, break down very complicated information down into easy to understand chunks in order for every team member to know what they need to do at any given time. You must spend more time listening than talking. A very good project manager realizes and knows that they don't know everything. They don't need to be what we call a SME, which is a subject matter expert. The leader, the project team lead that's busy developing game software, doesn't need to be a programmer. They just need to be a very good software development project lead. And again, you don't need to know everything, and you shouldn't know everything. You must continually inform the client. You are the client interface between the project team and the project. Determine any changes, provide timely feedback to the team and to the client. Developing relationships with each team member is vitally important. They need to understand where you stand, what the expectations are, and what success looks like. You have to maintain some interpersonal relationship for the duration of the project. Influence the thinking and action of others, and also deal with disagreements or divisiveness. And this will happen. People will disagree. People will be in conflict. There will be conflict of ideas, there might be conflict of schedules. There'll be people blaming them that they cannot start their task because their task is dependent on somebody else to finish off, and they are late because someone else didn't finish off theirs in time. There is going to be conflict. Conflict is part of building the team, and conflict is good. A good conflict is good. Positive conflict is good. And how you deal with that conflict. Conflict only becomes negative if it's not dealt with, and it affects the overall performance of the team. You must be able to handle stress, high levels of it, especially in these big projects that last multiple years. You must remain calm at all cost, because again, you are the interface between the client and the project team. Sometimes some parts of the project members don't even see each other, and you need to be that calm presence that everyone can look to when everything falls apart. Cope with constantly changing conditions. You should be able to have a high tolerance for change. Act as a buffer between the project team and the client. That could either be internally the upper management or an external client. You must have a good sense of humor, especially when things fall apart, because you can't take yourself too seriously, because the team will look at you to take the cue from you in terms of the sort of sense inside the project team. You must keep physically fit and improve the ability to handle stress. You must be able to solve problems on the fly. You must be able to immediately define what the problem is, immediately make decisions, and do that quickly, and do that without any sort of running around, feeling as if things are out of control, or looking as if things are out of control. Even when things are out of control, you must look at all times that you've got it covered, that you already thought about the problem and you already have a solution. Also encourage project team members to identify problems early and solve them, and this is part of that growing project members, being able to give them the authority to make decisions in some cases. Negotiating both internally with your project team as well as with the client, developing trusting relationships, using effective listening skills, and also most importantly understanding cultural differences that is in place, because again, with the workplace being more diverse, with people working across multiple countries, working across multiple backgrounds, and within multiple cultures, you will have to understand that some people, due to their cultural background, some people due to the country that they live in, might approach things differently, and you have to be very sensitive to that. Managing a very diverse project team, possibly remotely, because that's in some cases our project run, in which the project lead is managing remotely across different countries, across different people with different backgrounds. You need to be very, very sensitive about how people approach problems, the different ways people communicate, and also understand how they approach their work as well. You need to strengthen relationships and not erode them. Managing time goes without saying, the most important thing. You may be able to prioritize, show willingness to delegate. And this is one of the challenges, the ability to delegate. Very good project managers don't do anything on a project because, again, that is not your job. Your job is not to do the project. Your job is to manage the project. Delegating is empowering the project team, using effective communication skills, and also selecting the most qualified people. If you select the most qualified people to do the job and you communicate effectively, then your task and the work is absolutely more than done. Barriers to delegating. When you feel as if you can do it better or faster yourself, don't do it. You must delegate, because you've appointed and organized your resources so that there is others that need to complete it. What that then says is that you lack confidence in the ability of others. Why choose people if you are not going to delegate the work to do them? You're also afraid to lose control, which is one of the many elements of bad project managers, that they tend to hoard and do everything themselves, and then they burn out, because project managers should, again, not be completing any of the tasks. They're there to manage the project. They fear that they're going to be criticized for mistakes that happens in a project, because then it is their fault. Yes, ultimately the project manager is accountable and responsible for delivering the project. However, you cannot take things personally. If something happens, if one of your project team members fail, then it is not necessarily your fault. One of the key barriers is also where project managers lack confidence. Because they lack confidence, they project that onto their team members, and they tend to not want to delegate tasks because they're worried that the client is going to see that mistakes are made and going to try. In figure 10.1, you can have a look at the different degrees of delegation to review. And then finally, managing change. When changes are initiated by the customer or the client, you should be able to manage the client through knowing what the client's needs are. Again, it's about the tension between what the client expects and what the project is actually going to deliver. Sometimes there are changes managing or changes delivered initiated by the team. Somebody in the team leaves, or someone gets sick, or something happens, and you need to manage that change very quickly. There are going to be plenty of unanticipated occurrences, and those are the ones that you need to be able to work with as they arise and problem solve them. Sometimes changes are also how you go about managing and controlling those, established procedures for communication. So when things happen, people need to communicate those changes immediately through these weekly meetings, and also you having those one-on-one discussions with all of the team members. You need to be able to estimate the impact of the change very quickly and make decisions about how you're going to mitigate those changes. And always make sure that the customer approves the changes that you are making. It certainly sounds that a project manager has to be a super person with very, very multiple skills. But that is exactly what a project manager is. It's a person that has the ability to do a lot of different things all at the same time. They have to be a great leader. They have to be great at administration. They have to be great at organizing. They must be able to plan and control. They must be able to look into the future and be able to anticipate changes. And they must be able to have one-on-one relationships with the project team, manage stress very well, be able to manage and roll with the changes as they occur within the project. It is certainly a very interesting set of skills, and there are only a few people that are drawn towards becoming project managers, especially the different types of projects, because you've got sometimes these big construction projects, you have some software development, you even have smaller projects within change management projects, which deals with changing or implementing change within an organization. Those are all different types of projects, and they require the same set of skills, maybe a person with a different background, but the same set of skills. And that brings us to the end of our first theme. The next part is looking at project teams.